Hi everyone. I wanted to tell you that one of the things that I find inspiring being here in Los Angeles is seeing the incredible body of work that so many costume designers have done and are doing. From the time I moved from San Francisco to Los Angeles, it's been a real education to see how the color of something, the shape of something, how a garment can totally create a character. And we did so well with comments on our last episode on Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek that we decided that we were going to do an episode on an iconic 1990s character, Fran Drescher in The Nanny. So when you think about costume designers that totally hit it out of the park with their effect and impression on fashion, Patricia Fields, for example, with Sex and the City, and even with film, Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan. I mean, so many films completely influence fashion. But interestingly enough, with The Nanny, the costume designer, Brenda Cooper, did a confluence of many well-known designers, but she also used designers whose name is I'm not sure that a lot of people would recognize, like Rifat Ozbek. And this week is unusual because we have the added pleasure of bringing in our eclectic and colorful Miss Orchid Satellite to go through the racks with me, because she actually would have been an inspiration to Brenda Cooper. So come on in.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for agreeing to do this
Thank
with
you for
us.
including me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, when you brought in your personal pieces, my jaw dropped. You have pieces that are in the Instagram What Fran Wore.
Yeah.
And you're actually wearing a Moschino.
Yeah, I am. It's one of the same exact outfits she wore in the show. So it's a 90s Moschino collection, Harlequin print. I'm just in love with it. It's one of my favorite pieces.
It looks amazing on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the way you styled it is beautiful.
Thank you. I had to wear the beret to match Fran.
Do we want to start with what's on the mannequins or on the racks?
I guess we'll start with the mannequins. Okay. Both of them were included in the show. She wore a lot of Moschino and a lot of the animal prints. So this is like the classic, both of them together.
And she wore a lot of Moschino, but also cheap and chic.
Yes.
One of the things I loved when I was reading the research before we started this episode was Brenda Cooper. You know, people go, well, she wasn't the costume designer because she just went to the store and bought all this stuff. But yeah, she was. Number one, when you have a TV production that moves as quickly as they do, there's no time to do made to order.
Totally.
And so she actually took pieces and altered them, or would take a sleeve off and put a sleeve from another garment on and make it the nanny's own. On this mannequin,
this incredible Westwood. It's super bodycon. This like soft brown velvet is incredible. And she wore this a couple times in the show.
It's a stretch velvet.
Yeah.
So it's totally bodycon.
Yeah. It fits like a dream. Yeah. The reason that we found out that this dress was on The Nanny was this incredible Instagram, What Fran Wore. Mm-hmm. Which a lot of us that work here, Mike and myself included, love and follow. They have a big following of people that are re-inspired by the show and just the iconic 90s outfits and just how inspiring of a character she was. Shanae Brown, who runs it, did an incredible job of documenting all of these pieces. And I know from personal experience, the research that goes into finding where these pieces come from takes a lot of time.
And what's wonderful about What Fran Wore is it's inspiring a whole new generation of, like, Cardi B, for example.
Totally.
And what I love about it is that, you know, it's hard to believe that the Nanny premiered in 1993.
Yeah, before I was even born. It's wild.
So 27 years later, the fashions are still relevant. And I think that was a conscious decision that Brenda made.
Yeah.
She didn't want to go trend. She wanted to go transcend time.
Yeah, and I think in doing so, like, the decisions to match different eras was really helpful in that too. You know, like even on this mannequin, we included, you know, a hat from the 50s with a purse from the 80s with a dress from the 90s. And that's exactly what Brenda Cooper did. And I really like that. And that's what I do in my style. You know, I'm wearing a blouse from the 60s and then, you know, this set from the 90s and these shoes that came out 2 years ago. But putting them all together creates that character and that story that is timeless. It makes it less of a trend. Yeah.
Yeah, and less matchy to some degree.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful when you can make fashion your own as opposed to trying to do the cookie cutter matching what's in a fashion magazine.
Totally. And she did a lot of that with like taking certain prints and taking risks with matching prints. And I really admired that a lot too. You know, it allows a lot of freedom when you can wear a stripe with a polka dot and feel confident with that. Yeah. So, you know what? I'm going to start with one of the best pieces, I think, in the pile.
Highly documented.
Yes. There's argument that this piece alone started basically the Nanny and her style and character. I believe it was the show Princesses that she assisted in costume design for.
Assisted Eduardo Castro.
Yes, Eduardo Castro.
Yeah.
And Twiggy wore it. There's a wonderful picture of Twiggy wearing this, not this exact vest, but one very, very similar that Moschino came out with like an amazing white ruffle pirate blouse. And then she kept that piece and reused it as her first outfit on the show. So it's really incredible to see. A lot of people love this vest in particular because of that. It's also the same one that Cardi B wore. This collection is one of my all-time favorite collections.
Can you turn it around?
Ever. Yeah, it's the cut of the rainbow is incredibly done. The original on the show has the buttons, the black buttons that go down that say Moschino. So this one's a little bit different. This is from Moschino jeans. I just love the rainbow so much, and you can pair it in so many different ways.
And it's so relevant these days.
I know. It's perfect for Pride season, which should be any season anyways, but yeah, it just makes me so happy. I also have a couple pieces that were on the show, not the exact pieces used on the show, but the exact pieces that she wore. One of which being this incredible Ungaro blouse. It's also like a harlequin print, similar to the one I'm wearing. It's just a little bit more vibrant. I love these like silky, shiny fabrics that they used in the show. I feel like it really popped in the show. Yeah. And she paired this a couple different ways, so it was nice to see like mixing and matching and wearing things more than once. And the other one that was on the show was this amazing Moschino jacket. I just love the color and the print, super loud. She had a matching headband, which is amazing. She did a lot of that, pairing with brazen headbands.
And I mean, how many polka dots have you seen in this iteration?
Totally.
It's a great polka dot.
It's really unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen really anyone like it at all. I also pulled a couple that are really similar to what she wore. One thing about my personal style is I was very influenced by the show and people that aren't afraid to wear very bold and bright colors, like this dress. So what's funny is she had a top that is the exact same colorway and striping, but it's from the 90s. And this dress is from the 60s. And I love the 60s, like vibrant,
Psychedelic.
like neons and psychedelic prints. Yeah, and this one just like, it hurts your eyes to look at after a while, which I love. Yeah, so I pulled that because of this. And then also, a lot of sequins were a big thing for her character. I love how she also wore them any day. It wasn't about going out to an event. She would just wear a sequin dress for fun and tumble down the stairs in it, which is something I definitely resonate with.
I think it's great that the Fran Drescher character wore sequins anytime.
Yeah.
Because nowadays anything goes.
Totally, and I think that should be encouraged more and more. I mean, that's the way that I approach fashion, and I think other people should too. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to wear any of these pieces, and there's ways to mix and match and make it feel like a complete outfit.
And the best part is, it changes your entire attitude and mood.
Absolutely. Yeah, like this piece, for example, when I brought it in earlier, we all were just like laughing and awing over it. This is a Michael Simon vest, sweater vest.
Love that piece.
It's one of my all-time favorites. It's so whimsical. It's obviously the Mona Lisa, And she herself wore a lot of Michael Simon, not this exact piece, but a lot of the sweaters with fun animals on it and puppy dogs. I just think it's so like whimsical and fun. And this is a great thing too because it adds a lot of flair, but you can wear it like she did with a pair of jeans and some little heels, a neck scarf and a beret, a cute little sweater underneath that's a pop of color.
What I loved, I read an interview where Brenda said that she loved going over the top and right to the edge.
Yes.
Without falling over.
Yes. I think that's a great way to approach fashion.
Yeah.
Right at that edge where, you know, it's not too ridiculous.
Right.
But it makes you feel really excited and bold. And I think pieces like this do that. You know, they're really fun and playful.
And it's a wonderful way to communicate your eccentricity and your eclectic personality.
Totally. And that's why I love the Nanny, because I feel like her character alone was already really bold and outrageous and fun and playful, but having her outfits bring that to the outside just made it more well-rounded. And I think that's the wonderful thing about fashion that we can do.
What's inside comes out.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's not vanity, it's just expression. I guess I'll show a couple more of my Michael Simon sweaters. This is one of my favorites. It has a million different animals on it, and they all have little sequin eyes. It even has little ants crawling on the bottom, which is so cute. This is similar to one that she had that had puppy dogs on it.
I love that.
Yeah. It's one of my all-time favorites. And then he did a lot of amazing ones of different themes, like this one's all perfume bottles. So they're all different styles, and I just love all the detail, like the tassel on the end, and it just has a couple little ones on the bottom.
Both of those have their original price tags on them.
They do.
Did you buy them no, you weren't born yet.
No, I bought them dead stock. I have this habit, whenever things still have the tags, I keep them on, and even when I wear them, if I can hide them, because I just love seeing like the old tags. Like this was originally $176,
Wow.
which is kind of crazy. The other thing about Fran that I loved is that her character wore a lot of outerwear, and I think that's an easy way to transition into boldness, is just throwing on an amazing jacket. So I brought a couple of my favorite 90s jackets that were similar to her style. This cheap and chic one is just incredible with its little faucet buttons.
And the faucet is in the print.
Yeah, so it's like a large scale faucet with the small faucets, and I just love the quilting of it. I also have jackets like this one that is just an incredible print and color scheme, very of the time. I love prints like this that have no black in them, if you notice.
That's almost home accessory print.
Yeah.
Like you could see that as upholstery fabric. I mean, although that would be a wild upholstered.
Oh, imagine wearing this on a matching couch. That would be incredible. Another, just to add to the sequin game, is this beautiful like rainbow squiggle print sequin dress. This is probably from the late 70s, early 80s, I'm assuming. And the thing, too, is that she did wear a lot of 80s pieces, even though it was in the 90s, because that was a big thing. I think that's how you have strong characters in film, is not wearing everything from just that year.
Right.
Because realistically, you wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I read in an interview that she actually would put really big shoulder pads in jackets to kind of, because Fran Drescher had such an amazing body.
Yes.
And shoulder pads are a way to accentuate the waist.
Totally. And she even did that with her robes. Like all of her like robes just around the house, she would put the like 40 style shoulders in it, which does so much. It makes coming out of the shower sexier. I love that. Yes. The last one I wanted to show off I got from here. And this is one of my favorite pieces in my collection because I'm such a big fan of tiger print. I think it's so ferocious. It's like the punk cousin of leopard print to me. And this is a Moschino cheap and chic piece, very similar to this one. Just a little bit different of a cut and color scheme, but I just love it.
So when we decided to do this episode and to create these racks of what Fran would have worn, we've just got so much. So rather than take 2 hours to go through every single thing, I think what I'll do is pull out the highlights, and we'll start with one of my favorites.
Mine too.
which is Christian Francis Roth, his Crayola crayon dress. He did this in different colors, so this is obviously the yellow. I had one other one a few years ago, which I donated to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, but this one is for sale. Christian Francis Roth was known for doing whimsical kind of appliques, and to look at this applique shape and to inlay it, it's not easy. So his technique was fantastic. All of these color block pieces are inlaid. We have one other Christian Francis Roth piece on this side, which is the bottle cap jacket. And it's an applique versus an inlay. We did Thierry Mugler, however you want to say his name. But he was also a favorite designer that was used for her wardrobe.
Yeah.
We have one Mugler piece that could have also been Moira Rose's.
Yes, so true. I love the houndstooth print too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a very popular print in the 90s, in
Uh-huh.
all different scales. I just love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what's great is Mugler did such a wonderful job in his tailoring. So all of his garments pretty much really showed off a woman's waist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This incredible 3-piece vinyl. It's Moschino Cheap and Chic, and it has its shell in there as well. Can totally see the nanny wearing this.
Yeah, she wore one similar. I love this one though because it's like plasticky and mod. Reminds me of Courage a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Pieces
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
And also Chanel with the knit piping to connect the pieces.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great combination.
Yeah.
And let's see, we have one outrageous sequin ensemble, which it's a great piece because it's not itsy bitsy teeny weeny.
I'm glad it's not my size, or I would have taken it already. It's a great oversized piece, but it just looks so nice fitted on the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fabulous.
Yeah. And this is for the woman who's not afraid to be noticed.
Yes, absolutely.
And along with garments, we pulled a few accessories that would go with so many of the things on the racks, I should say.
Yeah, I love that her outfits always included matching accessories, and that was a big part of it to pull it together. That's the way that I dress too, and style is things like berets or big hats, and then handbags that have whimsy.
Speaking of ensembles,
Yeah, this is incredible. So these are 2 separate pieces, 2 separate designers, but we paired them because they match so well. Just fabulous faux snakeskin, which was really popular at that time.
well, and the wonderful thing too is a lot of these things are available on our website. And so, for example, this very sexy racerback bodycon dress is $75. So it should be in our 99 and under category.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing too is, like there were pieces that she wore and that people were like Chanel and Versace, but they can also be paired with mall brands at the time. And that's really wonderful, and I think that's what's great about the store is that, we do have so many of the 99 and under pieces that look just as fabulous and you
Right.
can wear just as strongly.
Well, and Brenda Cooper said that she liked to shop some of the less expensive stores as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just about being label conscious, although
Definitely.
that was a strong part.
Yeah.
Another designer they used was Herve Leger.
Mm-hmm.
His Band-Aid dress, which is extremely bodycon. And I think there's an article which mentions one of the gowns was not available, and so she recreated it almost exactly to a T.
Yeah.
In closing, I want to reinforce the fact that be who you are. Express yourself without fear of judgment. And it's a beautiful thing to see people who are free and liberated and enjoying the canvas that their body is. And I mean, as evidenced by Orchid.
Thank you.
And if you like this episode and want to see more, please subscribe. Also, check us out on Instagram. And if you have any special needs, DM us or comment on YouTube. I want to say thank you to all of my followers that have written loving notes about what we endured about 4 weeks ago. So that's it for now. We hope you're well. We hope you are safe. And we hope we get a chance to meet you in the store one day. Thanks. Bye.